Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it.
We have to talk about what's going on in the right-wing pundit sphere. I'm not sure where to start. I mean, we could talk about the Nixon era and all the lies and the corruption involved in that. We could talk about the Ronald Reagan era and getting rid of the fairness doctrine, Rush Limbaugh and screaming and yelling about feminazis and black people, the George W. Bush era and lying us into the Iraq war. And then, of course, electing a black president pretty much broke all of the conservative brains out there. Then, of course, there's Donald Trump's first term and ending in such a disaster with COVID. But all of that has led up to this point where all of the conservative media grifting has become such a wretched hodgepodge of anger, fear, and garbage. It's a real hot mess. The thing is about the conservative project is that if you have no policies to help improve people's lives and all you have is propaganda and lies and vitriol and hatred for the other, you're going to end up in this spot. If you don't have any principles, if you have no policy and all you have is just the grift, the making money off of the rubes, then it will eventually turn on itself, eat itself like a snake eating its own tail. I'd like to prove that to you, but it's an article from back in April of 2017. And even though this is nearly 10 years old, it's still very applicable to this very day. If you want to understand the intra-GOP warfare, the decision-making process of our president, the implosion of the Republican healthcare plan, and the rest of the politics of the Trump era, you do not need to know about Russia, espionage tactics, the state of white working class, or even beliefs in the alt-right. You pretty much just need to be in a semi-regular contact with a white, reasonably comfortable male retiree. Just that sentence alone, it doesn't sound like 2017. It sounds like today. We are now ruled by men who think and act very much like that ordinary man you might know. And if you want to know why they believe so many strange and terrible things, you can basically blame the fact that a large and lucrative industry is dedicated to lying to them. Because there was a lot of money in it for various hucksters and moguls and authors and politicians. The conservative movement spent decades building up an entire sector of the economy dedicated to scaring and lying to older white men. For millions of members of that demographic, this parallel media dedicated to lying to them has totally supplanted the mainstream media. Now they, and we, are at the mercy of the results of that project. The inmates are running the asylum, if there is a kind of asylum that takes in many mostly sane people and then gradually, over many years, drives one subset of its inmates' insanity. And also this asylum has the largest military in the world. Nearly a decade ago, still applicable today. Anyway, let's move on to more current events. Remember back in 2022, Kanye West was all over the place. He was losing his mind. He was wearing a Donald Trump red MAGA hat, and he was screaming and yelling about slavery being a choice. The Jews were running everything, and it was a complete disaster. Well, I just wanted to refresh your memory. Kanye West was joined by Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes and the alt-right commentator Milo Yiannopoulos on Monday's episode of the Tim Cast IRL podcast. This was back in 2022. This was considered fringe back in the day. People looked at it and goes, oh my God, these people are crazy. And we were just pointing and laughing at it. Very much like we were laughing in 2015 at Donald Trump running for president, and look how that turned out. I'm just saying that the people that we laughed at just a few years ago are now running the show. They are the inmates running the asylum. While speaking with Tim Pool, the host of the Rightwing YouTube channel with 1.4 million subscribers, by the way, he's got like over 3.5 million now. West drove into a tirade over the recent media backlash surrounding his anti-Semitic comments. Quote, "I just got to go to the heart of this anti-Semite claim," Ye said before accusing Gap, Adidas, his former personal trainer, former presidents Barack Obama and Donald Trump, and more of the participating in a Jewish-led conspiracy to sabotage his career. And just a refresher, here's Kanye on the Timcast IRL.
When I found out that they tried to put me in jail, it was like a dog was biting my arm, and I almost shed a tear, almost. But I still walked in stride through it. Yeah.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they though? We can't say who they is,
corporate
can we?
press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking.
It is
about
them though, isn't it? I mean, because
No.
because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
Are you referring to the press?
He's gone.
Anyway, that didn't work out too well for Tim Pool. I'm sure by now you probably have started to recognize some of the names. Maybe a few years ago you wouldn't have recognized these people, but now they're in a much more prevalent light, and it's kind of hard to avoid, especially considering theirs is the argument that is winning on the right. But at the same time, when you have a president that is completely fucking up the bag, and your anti-war president is now threatening war in Venezuela, another war for oil, and it does not seem like he's interested in anything other than making the Epstein Memorial Ballroom, there's nothing left for you to defend. So now you are going to start sniping and preying on each other. So let's get to something a little bit more recent. Now, of course, you guys remember back in September, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And after his assassination, there was this reorganizing on the right. Right-wing politicians and pundits, they lost their fucking mind over Charlie Kirk. They have turned him into their version of Martin Luther King, even though Charlie Kirk was not a good dude. But at that time, if you were to even quote Charlie Kirk, you would get in trouble on social media. They would come after you just by quoting the man. But nevertheless, when he's gone, now there is this huge vacuum that needs filling. And there are so many politicians and pundits on the right out there trying to fill that spot. You got J.D. Vance literally going on Charlie Kirk's podcast to fill in for him as if he was on vacation and he would be coming back. You're the fucking vice president of the United States. And of course, you know, you have people like Senator Ted Cruz, who also has a podcast, and Lindsey Graham. They're on one side of the conservative aisle saying, we are filled with bigotry and hatred for everybody except for Israel. And on the other side, you have this dipshit here, Nick Fuentes, who is a avowed white nationalist. He is a Hitler-loving Nazi. Quote, Hitler was a really cool dude. Anyway, Tucker has him on, and this throws the right wing into a cocked hat. They do not know what to do with themselves. To most of the normie Republicans out there, he is just a little beyond the pale, even though his is the message that is winning with the young people out there. Anyway, this was a very, very friendly interview.
Fuentes, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I wanted to meet you. I've heard about you.
I've heard about you.
So, well, thank you. I want to understand what you believe, and I want to give you a chance in a minute to just lay it out, not what you're pivoting against, which are a lot of the same thing. You know, I agree with you on some of the things you're pivoting against for sure, but what do you affirmatively believe? So I just want to stand back and let you explain it. But first, I want to understand how you got to where you are, how you became Nick Fuentes. So here's
one thing you have to understand about Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. They both dislike Israel, but not for the reason that you and I dislike him, the fact that they are the modern day Nazi party and they're doing a genocide. Tucker's issue with Israel is that we spend American dollars over there. And Nick Fuentes is just like, I hate Jewish people and the Jews run the world and we need to get rid of them all, including the ones in Israel. So there are no good guys in this story. Moving on, that particular interview really did have an effect in the right wing. What started off as a vacuum that needed to be filled by the absence of Charlie Kirk has now put all of right-wing media into this feeding frenzy, and it's also taking a lot of conservative bigwigs down in the process. The Heritage Foundation, very right-wing think tank, got a lot of backlash for defending Tucker Carlson having Nick Fuentes on, because the head of the Heritage Foundation defended Tucker Carlson interviewing him.
Welcome back. Another member of the Heritage Foundation has resigned after the conservative think tank's leader defended right-wing commentator Tucker Carlson's interview with white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. Princeton University professor Robert P. George announced he's stepping down as board member of the institution because its president, Kevin Roberts, refused to retract the video defending Carlson despite publicly apologizing for it. Now, this comes after several members of the institution's anti-Semitism task force also resigned in protest against Roberts' video. However, President Trump recently defended Carlson's decision to interview Fuentes. Listen.
We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if you...
He absolutely knows who Nick Fuentes is. He had dinner with him. Him, Kanye, and Milo Yiannopoulos went down to Mar-a-Lago and had dinner with Donald Trump. He knows exactly who Nick Fuentes is, and he's cool with him. Now, I need to move back just a little bit. This wasn't that long ago. This is Milo Yiannopoulos. He is a quote-unquote former gay man. The dude is still gay. I'm sorry, honey. If you're gay, you're gay. If you're straight, you're straight. If you're trans, you're trans. That's just the way it is. You cannot pray it away, even though Milo is telling everybody that he's got a guy that helped him get rid of his gayness. But that is not what he's talking about here. Last year, there was this big brouhaha where a handful of right-wing pundits out there, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, those guys, along with a handful of others, were busted taking a shitload of money from the Russian government. There was this company called Tenet that was running as kind of a front. Russia wanted some of the right-wing pundits to do propaganda against Ukraine, and he found a handful of them to do it. And we're paying them something like $5,000 an episode, and these guys made millions of dollars. Of course, after they got busted, they were all claiming to be victims of this because they didn't do enough in the vetting process. The fake guy that they were getting money from, his name was Edward Gregorian, one of the fakest names I've ever heard. And Edward Gregorian would give money to Tenet Media, and Tenet Media would distribute it amongst 5 or 6 of these pundits. And Milo, who is just as wrapped up in all of the creepy right-wing grift, he comes on Tim Pool's podcast and calls him out for it.
No, I'm saying in general, big picture.
No, they know exactly where the money's coming from. Dave Rubin knew where the money was coming from when it was coming from Russia. He used it to buy his children.
That is 100% false.
Dave Rubin is an openly gay man in the Republican world that is very detrimental to your health. He adopted a couple of children. I think he might have had a surrogate, and the surrogate gave birth to twins, and Dave Rubin and his partner adopted them.
And you know that ropes me into it, and I can verify it's 100% false.
All right.
Completely untrue.
It is so,
and this is important big picture stuff because USAID is funneling money into NGOs.
It's irresponsible in the extreme to the point of ludicrous negligence to not know where hundreds of thousands of dollars are coming from.
Millions.
To not even ask.
And that's not the story at all. So if you knew what you're talking about, maybe it sounds smarter.
All right. Well, I will.
But clearly, as the story has already been reported and you haven't read any of it, which involves me, which I find particularly insulting, is that certainly...
You don't know what you're talking about, so they are. What is this, fucking high school? Yes, this is high school.
Dave, I, as well as Benny, did ridiculous due diligence in digging and trying to figure out...
Honey, the guy was named Edward Gregorian. The only picture you had of him was a picture of him on a G6 airplane, and his face was blurred out. You didn't even know what the guy looked like. This is not due diligence, my friend.
What the source of the revenue was beyond your typical ad deal. So when I get an ad sale person who comes to me and says, this company
I didn't
wants...
remember that you were involved in that.
This company wants to sell, they want to buy a...
Milo was talking shit about Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson. He didn't even know that Tim was involved in this. And now Tim is jumping down his throat thinking that he did know. It's fucking hilarious.
$100,000 in ad reads over this amount of time. No one anywhere in media says, tell me who their investors are. Get me on the phone with him. And when this stuff went down, Dave, Benny, I, and many others said, we want to know what this is all about. Who is this involved with? And when you get a prominent conservative personality based out of Nashville with an American company and says, here's the investors, they're going to talk to you, explain it. Here's the proof. We go, okay, well, like a prominent conservative personality is running a company out of Nashville.
About Lauren Chen.
Lauren Chen.
Was she a prominent personality?
Certainly was.
$100,000 at a time at a pop doing ad reads for a media company? Jesus, I'm in the wrong line of work.
Of thousands of followers on the Blaze. Everybody knew she was, and she had a story, and so we did some digging.
I've never heard of her before this.
And so this is the point.
All right, I didn't remember you.
This is the big
I didn't
picture.
remember you were a victim of that. So
he is not a victim. If you consider a victim somebody who got millions of dollars to spread propaganda and then go, oh my God, I'm such a victim. Man, victimize me all day long.
I apologize for casting aspersions if that was your impression.
So to imply,
I didn't remember you were a victim of that, but
right.
All right, he's going to change the subject. He's not going to talk about it anymore. But just to give you a brief background on this, well-known right-wing influencers duped to work for covert Russian operations, U.S. prosecutors say. They have millions of followers online. They have been major players in the right-wing political discourse since Donald Trump was president, and they worked unknowingly for a company that was a front for Russian influence operations. An indictment filed Wednesday alleges a media company linked to 6 conservative influencers, including well-known personalities Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, was secretly funded by Russian state media employees to churn out English language videos that were often consistent with the Kremlin's interest in amplifying U.S. domestic divisions in order to weaken U.S. opposition to Russian interest, like its war in Ukraine. An indictment indicates how Moscow may be attempting to capitalize on the skyrocketing popularity of right-wing podcasters, live streamers, and other content creators who have found successful careers on social media in the years since Donald Trump was in office. U.S. Justice Department doesn't allege any wrongdoing by the influencers, some of whom, it says, were given false information about the source of the company's funding. Instead, it accused 2 employees of Russia Today, a Russian state media company, of funneling nearly $10 million to a Tennessee-based content creation company for Russian-friendly content. After the indictments were announced, both Poole and Johnson issued statements on social media, which Rubin retweeted, saying they were victims of the alleged crimes and had done nothing wrong. Like I said, victims that made millions. Man, apparently the victim culture really pays. Tenet's website lists 6 influencers who provided content, including Poole, Johnson, Rubin, Lauren Southern, Taylor Hanson, and Matt Christensen. So now that you're up to date on that little tidbit, let's move on. Tim Pool had another little snafu, if you will, where he went and met with Benjamin Netanyahu in his excuse making after he was busted, because this was all secret. It wasn't just Tim Pool that went there. There were a lot of different influencers that met with Benjamin Netanyahu. The only reason why you would meet with Benjamin Netanyahu is because Netanyahu wants right-wing influencers to help sell the genocide in Gaza and to give them cover. So Netanyahu invited a lot of guys, including Tim Pool, to go meet with him. And Tim Pool was going to keep it quiet. He called it Chatham House rules. Whatever goes on in the room stays in the room and nobody talks about it. But a lot of the other influencers just went out on social media and said, oh yeah, I just met with Bibi Netanyahu and Tim Pool was there. So he was busted. And this is him giving an excuse for why he was there, and it wasn't that big of a deal, and don't worry about it.
Roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was under what's called Chatham House rules. For those that are not familiar, this means that you cannot reveal anybody who attended, nor attribute anything to any one individual, as they can deny it. However, what I love about what the White House is currently doing, when you bring together a bunch of influencers and podcasters who don't know much about journalism culture, whatever you want to call it, not that we were...
Tim Pool does not know anything about journalism either. He pretends to be a journalist on his podcast. He tries to act smart, but he doesn't read. He's dumb as a bag of hammers, but yet he has 3.5 million followers because he's on the right wing, and the right wing loves the grift, and they eat that shit up like it's fucking tripe.
Tremendously. Most people didn't know what Chatham House meant. So...
Oh, he's mad. He's mad that the other people that were invited to the press pool outed Tim Pool for writing Benjamin Netanyahu. Bro, you shouldn't have throated him so hard. Is Tim going to say Israel's an enemy of the United States? Oh, no. He's going to say Hamas is an enemy of the United States. He's not. He's pro-Israel.
With all due respect, it's funny because they bring us into the Blair House, which is where Netanyahu was staying. And immediately people are walking around with their cameras, their phones up. They actually took our phones from us. And I legit thought they would maintain Chatham House rules.
So Tim Pool cannot stop getting himself into trouble. Okay, so now we are up to date. In the last week, MAGA straight up imploded this weekend, and it is beyond messy. The online MAGAverse were at each other's throats more than usual this weekend as right-wing commentators Benny Johnson, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Tucker Carlson were all points of controversy. The first tiff started on Saturday when Yiannopoulos, who has made a name for himself as an openly gay far-right bigot, accused multiple conservative influencers like Johnson and Charlie Kirk of being closeted gay men on Tim Pool's podcast with swindler and former MAGA representative George Santos, who is also gay. Now, also, Laura Loomer, she has jumped in the middle of this because, of course, she is. She's a psychopath, and she is on the right, so, of course, she's going to have an opinion on this. Marjorie Taylor Greene's intern and speechwriter Milo Yiannopoulos, who spent a lot of his time living inside the Rome, Georgia home of Marjorie Taylor Greene, went on Timcast to say Charlie Kirk was about to divorce Erica Kirk before he died and that Charlie was gay. Milo also used the episode to say Candace cares more about Charlie Kirk than Erica Kirk cares about her own husband. Candace, meaning Candace Owens. We'll get to her in a minute. Boy, she is really helping to stir up this pot as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker were all together this week at Tucker's Christmas party in Nashville, Tennessee. Tucker Carlson also had Milo on his show this week to talk about homosexuality. Now, the same week, Tucker had Milo on to talk about homosexuality. Milo is now calling Charlie gay. Tucker is still set to be the keynote speaker for the upcoming TPUSA AmFest, which was Charlie Kirk's big project. It appears that all of the attacks on Charlie Kirk and TPUSA were organized and plotted at Tucker Carlson's Christmas party last week. Again, MTG would be pressed on why she allowed Milo, a foreign national who was fired for pro-pedophilia comments. He said that he was preyed upon when he was younger and underage by an older gay man, but that it's okay, and now he is willing to do that kind of stuff to younger gay men now that he's older. And that got him in a lot of hot water on the right, mostly because the right wing just doesn't like gay people. There are a lot of closeted gay conservatives out there, way too many to count. But in the pundit sphere, Benny Johnson, way too many rumors about him. Milo, definitely. Also, Steven Crowder, and Milo is now saying Charlie was gay. I don't know about that, but also Dave Rubin. There are quite a few of them, and I don't even get me started on Republican politicians who have a lot of dark secrets, like Mike Johnson and his wife, who owns one of those pray away the gay clinics. I guess he's not only married to the owner, but he's also a member.
I'm always a couple of days behind watching on the show because I've got stuff going on. But somebody tweeted today that Candace said that she believed that they were about to get a divorce. I think he was gay.
He's talking about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, that Charlie Kirk was going to divorce his wife because he thinks that Charlie Kirk was gay. And now Erica Kirk, who is running TPUSA at the moment, now that her husband's gone, she's kind of running the show.
I think he was gay. And
Come on,
You
you know that
time out.
you do know that I've criticized.
What? Like I'm sorry. Like what?
Speaking of the devil, George Santos, former ex-congressman, openly gay guy, and now he is running cover for Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk going against Milo here. This is so...
Why would you even go there, like, to say something like that?
Oh, I'll tell you why.
No. The man's dead. You're calling now. You think he's
that's
gay.
when,
They were
that's when
getting a
people
divorce,
can
like,
talk. That's when people can tell the truth.
Everybody is pissing in everybody else's Cheerios. Now, at the same time, during this interview with Milo, he also alludes to several other of these right-wing pundits being gay, one of which was Benny Johnson. And Benny Johnson did not like it too much, and he says that he is duty-bound to sue Milo Yiannopoulos for claiming that he slept with boys. Conservative commentator Benny Johnson appears to be gearing up to sue Milo Yiannopoulos after British provocateur claimed that Johnson's family man image is bogus and that it is an open secret that he has slept with boys at political conferences. So he yells at him that he's duty-bound to protect his family. He then asked for his 4 million followers God, he's got 4 million followers. That's insane. To pray for healing for some real sick and delusional people. Jesus is about redemption. The legal system is about justice. Johnson did not reference Yiannopoulos specifically, but it looks like a good bet that this is who he was talking about, considering his wife, Kate Johnson, posted a few hours earlier that Yiannopoulos needs prayer and a good attorney. The potential lawsuit comes 2 days after Yiannopoulos accused Johnson of being a not-so-stealthy gay man. Benny Johnson posted pictures of his children every 2 days. It's weird. And everyone knows that what went on with Benny Johnson in those lobbies and in those hotel rooms at SAS. Yiannopoulos said, referring to Turning Point USA's annual Student Action Summit, quote, "Everyone knows." Then Milo fires back at him. "Dear free speech warrior Benny, dear Kate, a few notes for your consideration. I know more about defamation than any lawyer you will hire. Benny is a public figure. Malice is a non-starter. I have receipts, and the truth is a total defense against any claim of defamation or libel. Do you want to lose a defamation case to Milo Yiannopoulos of all people about whether or not you are gay? Do you want to even fight one? The people who have poured money into making you a big deal are about to lose their entire investment. I know more about your marriage than you think I do." Jesus. "And I have evidence, and I have witnesses. I know who to subpoena. I know questions to ask. About nocturnal liaisons dangerous with chaps and assless chaps, about being caught in flagrante delicto at conferences attended by students, some of whom may have been under 18. I guess we'll find out. No one cares about you, Kate. I'll say this. It was shitty of me to say that you looked old. I am a shitty person. I'll delete that if you want." Although he's reiterating it right now. "And I apologize. It doesn't make me feel awesome to look back at those tweets. But you do look old. You look hideous." God damn, what a catty bitch. "You look twice your age. Apparently you agree because you just took the video down that I took a screenshot from today. It makes me a cunt to call you old looking, but it's not something that you can sue over in America. If you're raw about people saying that you're a swinger, maybe don't be a swinger, girl. Strange how rumors just take on a life of their own, especially given how notoriously prudish nurses are. Discovery will destroy your career beyond any possibility of redemption. Benny, which was never my intention and never in my heart, because I believe that family is making you a better man, as I think it did Charlie Kirk. But this will be the inevitable result of your actions. I just want you to be honest, because I believe it is important, and I believe that it is in the public interest to report on people who present one way and act another. There is an easy way out of this, honestly. Just tell your viewers who you are and what you've done and how you got better. If you have, you could be an inspiration to millions. Tell you what, I'll pledge to you right now, I'll cover the first $10,000 of your therapy with Dr. Nicolosi. Apparently, Dr. Nicolosi was the guy that he went to pray away the gay. But dude, he is still fucking gay. You cannot pray away the gay. Anyway, whatever. Kate's ravenous, mossy bank will have to take care of itself. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh, we can both spend millions and I'll win. Is that really what you want? Yours in Christ or kisses, cunty. I guess that depends on what day of the week it is. Your friend, Milo. Oh man, it's getting heated. Now we've got to introduce Candace Owens. Candace Owens is friends, or was friends, with Charlie Kirk. I remember the first time he had her on, I'm not exactly sure where they were. I think that they were in the UK at a college, and he was speaking at this college. Candace was there as well, and I remember her quotable moment was that Hitler wasn't a bad guy until he decided that he wanted to take his Nazi project globally. When he was just trying to make Germany great again, that was fine. His fuck up was that when he wanted to be a globalist and take over other countries. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but that is essentially what she said. Owens has spent the past week using her podcast to cast doubt that Charlie Kirk's killing was the action of a sole shooter. Tyler Robinson, 22, is facing charges of aggravated murder and felony discharge of a firearm, among others, in the death of Charlie Kirk. Look, the way the Charlie Kirk assassination has been handled by the FBI and cross-eyed Kash Patel does not look good. They handled it very piss poorly, which led to a lot of people questioning the official narrative. It's just, that's the story. We're moving on. Charlie Kirk's dead, and we're going to continue to use Charlie Kirk as a propaganda tool. Even though he's dead, we're going to continue to use him, and we're just going to leave the official story as it is, and don't ask for any further reports on it. We're not going to give them to you. This week, she published a podcast titled Charlie Kirk Suspect Charged, Something Isn't Right. Who ordered the hit on Charlie Kirk? And they are lying about Charlie Kirk. But Owens is not convinced by the Donald Trump-led conspiracy that the organized left is to blame for Charlie Kirk's killing. Instead, she is pushing an alternate theory that Kirk's death is part of a large global conspiracy with Israel at the center. She is not alone in believing that there is an Israeli plot behind Charlie Kirk's murder. A number of far-right influencers, including Ian Carroll and Jackson Hinkle, have suggested that Israel may have played a role, so much so that Benjamin Netanyahu has issued 2 separate denials of this involvement. Yeah, he put out a tweet saying, "I promise you I did not kill Charlie Kirk." Yeah, man, that's going to convince people, putting out a tweet like that. Jesus Christ. I will say that I don't know what the true story is. Do I think that Israel had him killed? No. Do I think that the official story is kind of bullshit? Yeah, I kind of do think it's pretty much bullshit. I think there was a lot of shit up in the air. I did some reporting on it when it happened, and all of it was just all over the place. You know, he changed clothes so many times. He broke apart his gun. He put it back together like a half a dozen times. All of the text messages that they released seemed like a cop wrote them. It was really, really fucking bizarre. But like I said, nothing has been done since. And not only is Candace Owens on this particular conspiracy, but she's got another conspiracy too. She thinks that Emmanuel Macron, the leader of France, his wife, who is like 20 years his senior, her name is Brigitte Macron. Candace Owens has been on this long journey to try to convince her followers, of which she has over 5 million, wow, it just blows my mind that these people have so many followers. But Candace is saying that Bridget McCrone is secretly a trans woman. And now they are trying to sue her over cyberbullying. This is some happy fucking conspiracy-laden right-wing psycho fever dream. But Candace Owens has been pushing that one too. So like I said, nobody in this story is good. Everybody in this story is bad. And it's also having an effect on Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, who, by the way, after, and I'm not trying to feed this conspiracy, but like a day after Charlie Kirk was killed, maybe it was 2 days afterwards, she does an online thing where she's standing next to his chair and his desk, giving a weird as hell little talk about Charlie, where she keeps dabbing her eye with no tears, all the while switching from to angry and we're gonna get you, but I'm mad. Anyway, so let's take a look at this. Erica Kirk is on Outnumbered, and she is filled with anger and audacity at this whole situation.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically...
That woman has more jewelry than fucking Liberace. Every one of those rings is probably $50,000 worth of diamonds and gold. I'm not saying it looks bad, but I'm saying it looks really bad, Erica. All of this looks really bad, including you doing that TP USA event where you were caressing the back of JD Vance's hair, wearing his favorite outfit, leather pants that looked a lot like a leather couch that he wants to have sex with. Just saying.
Museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
She does not have the media training that Charlie Kirk had. Yes, I know. She is a widow, and she is upset, but none of this looks good, folks. None of it does. Now let's have a listen to Candace Owens. This is the woman that's causing so much strife in the conservative podcast sphere. And she looks pretty self-satisfied with herself. You know, what's really funny is that on the right, the worst insult that you can hurl at another right-wing influencer or podcaster is that you're a Fed. Remember after January 6th, they claimed that, you know, everything that happened at the Capitol, it was completely infested with federal agents. And that's the reason why those people broke into the Capitol, because federal agents were egging them on. But at the same time, Donald Trump pardoned all of them. But after it happened, it was Antifa. But they're really patriots. I mean, guys, get your fucking story straight. Nevertheless, them calling each other feds and agents is their version of the Spider-Man meme where they're all just kind of pointing at each other. Here's Candace reacting to Tim Pool suggesting that she lay off the whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy stuff.
In other news and emotional manipulation, Tim Pool was having some sort of a breakdown. I don't really know what it's about. I don't know why he's tweeting about me all the time. I hope he gets well. But I do want to address this absurd point that he is making about why we shouldn't be speaking about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Take a listen.
You can come and you can burn everything I have to the ground, and I will happily live in a van down by the river. I don't care to be number one. I don't need to be number one. What I care about is what is true and what will help this country and what works. And she is a scumbag, okay? And she's getting worse every day. And she crossed the line. She continually crosses the line every day, insinuating that Turning Point literally killed the guy who made them all rich. And I hear this in the streets, and
yeah, that's another part of the conspiracy. It's not just Israel that took out Charlie Kirk. It's also an inside job from inside Turning Point USA. And she's pointing the finger at Erica Kirk and some other insiders that they took him out because he was secretly going to turn against Israel, even though he's a Catholic. I mean, it's all so goddamn convoluted.
At a certain point, I'm like, holy shit, we're going to lose the midterms. We're going to lose the midterms. Then we're going to lose in 2028, and it's because she's a piece of...
By the way, it's not because she's a piece of shit. The reason why you're going to lose the midterms is because you have a president that is wretched and is horrible and is doing some Nazi-esque fascist shit. Meanwhile, completely screwing up the entirety of America's economics with his tariff nonsense and completely showing his ass that he is George W. Trump and a warmonger, even though he ran on being the peace president and he wants a fucking peace prize while he is trying to instigate a war over oil in Venezuela. But no, it's Candace Owens' fault that you're going to lose the midterms because of Candace. I have no love for Candace Owens whatsoever, but that is not the reason why the Republicans are going to lose the midterms and Donald Trump is going to lose his power in Washington. It ain't her, dog.
Because instead of saying, guys, let's come together and figure out how to work together, she says the stupidest, retarded crap. And now everybody's running around divided and broken. For what reason? For literally what reason?
Because they killed Charlie Kirk in broad daylight, and we don't care about your stupid midterms. We just don't care. Like, they really... This is how they view Charlie Kirk. That's why I say, was anything in his life real? Tim Pool is going off right now because he's like, it's not the time. You guys need to be mules. You need to keep voting in the very corrupt people that are lying to your faces right now about what happened to Charlie Kirk. It is not the time because it is your job to get people into office. This is what I mean when I suggest that nothing in Charlie Kirk's life was real. So he really thinks he's doing something there. And actually what he's doing is proving my point. These people just saw Charlie as a means to an end. Okay, as a political horse.
She's not wrong about that. They are literally using the memory of him right now to extend their political project. They're using the memory of a dead guy, and they're making up a narrative about whatever Charlie Kirk believed. Each person has a different view of what Charlie Kirk was to them, and they're exploiting the death of this guy.
That they could ride, and so for whatever reason, they got tired riding him. And now they're angry because they also were going to whip the horse, the ghost of Charlie Kirk, and say, we still need you to shore up votes. And it is inconvenient that people who actually cared about Charlie and saw him as a, I don't know, human being, want to know why he was publicly executed in front of us and why we're being lied to about everything. That is why Tim Pool is upset, because midterms, it's going to be my fault, not the fault of the feds for feeding us BS. It's not going to be the fault of Turning Point USA for lying and thinking that they're brighter than us and seemingly not caring about the investigation. It's not going to be the fault of, I don't know, maybe actual politicians like Donald Trump, who's a president of the United States, and look us in the face and said, are we still talking about the Epstein files? No, that's not his fault. The fault is Candace Owens for wanting to figure out who murdered her friend. Don't you guys get it? Like, we're just an algorithm. Why do you care so much about humans? Like, why are you a human? Like, if somebody in your family dies, you need to focus on midterms. Okay? That is the point of a Tim Pool show. It doesn't matter what you are going through at home. I want you guys to hear this, okay? I don't care if you have family members that are dying, family members who have died, if you have children that you care about and you maybe don't want to live in a world that's run by pedophiles. You need to put that all aside and vote for whoever the hell Tim Pool tells you to vote for. I just want to platform that idea. I think obviously there's something wrong with me, and Tim Pool's got it figured out. His soul seems like it's really intact, and it's not for sale at all.
Damn, girl. Damn, girl. But yet the saga continues. Tim Pool, as well as a lot of other conservative pundits, want Candace Owens to come on to the next Turning Point USA event and have a debate over all of the stuff that she's been saying, whether it's Israel or whether Charlie Kirk's assassination has got anything to do with an inside job in TPUSA. So now we've got Tim Pool over here, and he is firing back at Candace, whether or not she's going to come to the Turning Point USA event and debate over this.
Which gives us a tremendous opportunity that if we played the same game as her, I could leak text messages, the things I've heard about Candace Owens. But my view of her is largely that she's unscrupulous and willing to manipulate intentionally for money. Based on the messages I've seen from her, I could accuse her of killing Charlie Kirk. I'm not even exaggerating. The messages that I've seen of Candace could easily be misconstrued to say that she had the biggest reason to murder Charlie because he ousted her from Turning Point. And she wants revenge, but she didn't know how to go up against Charlie. But I don't actually believe that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think she obviously was mad over a lot of things. I think she loved Charlie. I think she was in love with him. And now she wants to burn down Turning Point because she's, what do they call it? Second wife syndrome? She's the jilted lover who is friend zoned, who is Charlie Kirk's wingman, who had that romantic text exchange with him that she was showing off. And now she wants to burn everything down in revenge. That's what I really think. There have been people who have made the joke that you could easily take statements she's made and insinuate she had Charlie murdered, and statements from people at Turning Point about how they feared Candace and what she was going to do. So let me put it like this. After Candace was ousted from Turning Point, she was no longer a speaker. I think it was the end of 23. I'm not entirely sure. She remained friends with Charlie, but stopped doing events with Turning Point. And some people have argued it's because of her stance on Israel. I don't know if that's the case. But
she does not have a particularly good view of Benjamin Netanyahu and what's going on in Gaza. Not too long ago, she used to work for Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro is a big-time Zionist and a big defender of Israel. And he did not have a problem with her when she was out there defending the statements of Kanye West, saying some rather anti-Semitic things towards Jewish people. But once she started criticizing the state of Israel, Ben Shapiro had her fired. Then she was going back and forth between her own show and Charlie Kirk. Like I said, all of this stuff is really incestuous. I just wanted to give you that premise. By the way, that beanie, always on his head, never comes off. Dude is bald as a fucking cue ball. He's like in his 40s. And he lives next to a fucking skate park, which he stole from a bunch of kids. He bought it out from underneath of him. He lives out in the middle of West Virginia on a goddamn compound. The dude is a strange cat indeed.
There were people at Turning Point expressing fear over what Candace would do to them if they actually ever got into a drama bit with her over her being ousted. And so they needed to keep her close, but not too far. Some of these emails and these statements, you could easily be like, this proves Candace was trying to kill Charlie the whole time, because it's all vague murder mystery garbage. The question is, who's really going to believe it? I don't know. But that's exactly what she does. One example is like the Mikey McCoy thing. He got on his phone right after Charlie was shot. That proves it. And it's like, it literally means nothing. We have no idea what it means. She's insinuated that they denied Charlie first aid, that it was an inside job, all of this crazy nonsense, because it is lost. It's like, what big show do we have? You know what she's really good at? She basically figured out how to make that Game of Thrones herself. Very, very, very well done. And if you are unscrupulous and your biggest concern is how many live viewers you have, then you will be Candace Owens and you will brag about it. Good for her, I guess. I think she's evil. I think she's scummy. But, that's why I look at the success she has, why I called it demoralizing, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Because we are trying to build a coalition to save this country. She's trying to build a coalition so she can make money and sell ads. And she's effectively destroying the political coalition that wants to see a victory, to stave off this crazy immigration crisis, to help Gen Z and the working class buy homes and bring prices down. Her thing is just vagary after vagary, distraction, and burn down the one organization that actually unified various political factions to help Donald Trump win the election.
He is so fucking full of shit. First of all, he is jealous of the amount of viewers that she has. He's jealous of the amount of money that she makes. The concern of getting young people affordable housing, they could give flying fuck about that stuff. they would not be Republicans if they were actually trying to do that. The Republican Party does not give a good goddamn about whether or not you can have a house. They are completely happy with companies like BlackRock buying up all of the starter homes so you have to rent them. So Tim Pool is absolutely full of beans, full of himself, and full of shit. So now we've got Patrick Bet David on the PBD podcast, and he is here to valuetain you. And he wants to dip his toe in all of this drama, and he's trying to figure out what's going on with Candace Owens, Tim Pool, Milo Yiannopoulos, this entire cast of characters who are losing their mind, pointing at each other and calling each other fucking feds.
And by the way, can you pause it?
This guy right here, he was, or is, I don't even know how to say it anymore. He was Charlie Kirk's head producer on the Charlie Kirk show. They are still running the Charlie Kirk show without Charlie Kirk. Not a great look, I would say. If the guy is dead, you would shut down the show, but no. There's money to be made. There are views to be had. There is TPUSA recruitment to be done. And Erica Kirk is keeping this corpse alive using this producer to continue on with the show. It is so fucking weird. Let me put it to you this way. If I was dead, I would not want anybody else doing my show for me. You know what I mean?
Who is he first? What senior role does he have? Is he a leader of the company? Is he a spokesperson? I've not seen him before. And I don't want to saying he may be very big in the TPUSA community. I don't know.
Producer of the Charlie Kirk show.
He is the producer of the Charlie Kirk show. Yes. Okay, so he's involved. Go for it.
A flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She's made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She has suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. She has suggested Michael is not his real name. It is. I have seen his birth certificate myself. She has called it suspicious that Mikey's wife, who works at Turning Point, helped plan the campus tour event where Charlie was murdered, which she didn't, by the way. She doesn't work on campus events. Candace has suggested the Utah Valley University event was unusual, and its details suggested a, quote, inside job. She has claimed that foreign aircraft have followed Erica Kirk around the country and that Turning Point has lied about this happening. She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died. She has suggested Charlie's security team intentionally denied him first aid after the shooting to ensure that he died. She has raised suspicions about the head of our technical team because he took an SD card out of a camera. She has spread absurd claims that Tyler Boyer, who we just had on the show, sexually abuses male interns. She has suggested that TPUSA faith-affiliated pastors, like theologian Frank Turek, who we'll have on in a moment, and Pastor Rob McCoy, are part of a military...
So he's going through all the claims that Candace has made about TPUSA. Okay, if the folks have seen it, you've seen it. He keeps going through it. Okay, and Rob, what's this clip?
This is a quick clip. This is 37 seconds. This is Blake inviting Candace to appear with the rest of the Charlie Kirk show in Arizona in December.
Okay, go for it.
Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point, we believe the ball is back in her court.
Okay, so has she responded to it?
She did. This is Candace Owens. After that was offered, here she is.
Know that I cared about Charlie. Have you no shame? We're going to find out. You can pick the place. You can pick the time. I say we do it tomorrow. We don't need to plan for this. We don't need lawyers in between us, lawyer statements. It's not how I roll, okay? I don't care about any of that. I want it to be authentic. Like I said, you can take the money. We can raise money live for this conversation. That is how badly the world is demanding it. So I accept it with whistles and bells, everything I fully accept. I say, let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. And my only ground rule is no assassinations. Okay? No assassinations, no funny business. You can't pretend you're going to do it. And then Candace died in a mysterious accident.
What the fuck? My only rule is that there are no assassinations. Okay, honey, calm down.
Okay, so she responds back to that. The no assassinations comment's kind of weird, but she responds back to it. What else do you have, Rob, here on what's been said?
So then Blake Neff offers the Monday, December 15th at 4 p.m. offer to Candace. This comes at 1:21 in the morning. And then I have another tweet that I'll pull up right here. This is Candace Owens then stating that the invite didn't work.
Candace Owens answers back, kind of weird how you didn't email me or call me and ask me times or availability and choose to instead tweet this confirmation out at midnight. Why am I learning about this on Twitter? December 15th does not work in person, and 2 p.m. Pacific time is also literally time I do my podcast live every day. Well, that's kind of a weak excuse. If you really wanted to have this debate, if you really wanted to talk about it with all the bells and whistles, you just go to that event. But we will happily cancel the daily podcast and we'll join you guys virtually instead of live streaming it on the 15th. If that works for you on your end, let's lock it in.
Let's lock it in. And then I have one final tweet. This is Blake saying that the invite is no longer on the table after Candace turned down the in-person interview.
Okay, so I'm not understanding. So she says anytime, any place.
Yeah.
Then they say
Wednesday,
the
then
and then she says yes.
She says, well, I can't do that. I'm shooting, but I could join you virtually. I can't be there in person. And then they respond with this saying, okay, well, we're no longer going to consider having you on the podcast since you can't appear in person.
Now, let's not forget that Nick Fuentes, he's all about this stuff too. He publicly breaks up with Tucker Carlson, calling him a faker and saying to stay the fuck away from me. Meanwhile, less than 2 months ago, he was having a really nice Uber-friendly interview with Tucker Carlson. These guys, I swear to God, man, they will lash out at anybody. They're all out for themselves. They've run out of people to shoot at on the left, metaphorically, and now they're shooting at each other. Now, this is where it starts to get a little weird. Nick Fuentes says if Turning Point don't do a good job at exposing Candace, then he will. Quote, everybody else is afraid of Candace Owens. I'm not afraid of some ignorant black bitch. That's what he says. Now, like I said, Nick Fuentes, very racist, very much a white nationalist, Christian Nazi type dude, but he's part of this right-wing sphere, so they all bandy together back and forth, but they hate each other at the same time. And what's really, really very fascinating about this is that he's talking about Turning Point USA, and he's hoping that this thing does well because they are using Charlie Kirk's apparatus as a vehicle to help recruit and get more young Republican voters to vote for the next crazy conservative Republican president. And they're using TPUSA as a vehicle to get that done. Nick Fuentes is wanting it to do well so this right-wing grift can continue, and he, as well as all the rest of them, can live on this gravy train like a bunch of succubuses living off of the corpse of the Republican Party and Charlie Kirk. But at the same time, just a few short years ago, he hated Charlie Kirk and he hated Turning Point USA. But we'll get to that in a second.
And I just can't wait for December 15th when Turning Point, they better bring their A game. They got a lot riding on this. And I'll say this much. I'm looking forward to the Turning Point live stream where they respond to everything. I plan on live streaming that. And depending on how they do, if they don't do a good enough job, I think I'm going to have to step up. And I think I'm going to have to expose Candace Owens for what she...
Boy, these guys have such elevated views of themselves. You're all a nothing but a bunch of bitchy little fucking children. I swear to God. None of you are helping the discourse whatsoever. None of you are actively trying to help out anybody financially or humanitarianly here in America. You're just trying to make money off of the fucking grift.
If Turning Point doesn't do a good enough job on December 15th, I'm going to have to step up. And just like I exposed Tucker Carlson, and just like I exposed J.D. Vance, I'm going to have to step up, and I'm going to have to blow the lid and expose everything about Candace Owens and reveal who she really is, who her husband is, who her donors are. And unlike her, I will be naming names. I will be coming with receipts. I will blow the lid on the whole thing, and I'll give her the Tucker Carlson treatment. But I'll wait and see how the Turning Point USA stream goes. I think they're going to do a good job, but if they don't, then I'll finish it for them. Nobody else will do it. Everybody else is afraid of Candace Owens. I'm not afraid of some ignorant black bitch, okay?
God damn.
Everybody's afraid of a black Karen. I'm not. I'm a groiper, okay?
Okay.
Black bitches are a speciality, okay? So Turning Point, the whole conservative movement, they're all in fear of Candace Owens. Nobody wants to step to her and her insane cult of followers. I'll do it and I'll win.
Jesus, man, you are a wretched little boy. Turning Point USA struggles to bar white nationalists from student summit. This was back in 2021. Charlie Kirk's right-wing youth group faces possible conflict with Nick Fuentes' white nationalist groypers. So they were not friends, but now he seems really invested in what Turning Point USA is doing because they all want this right-wing grift gravy train to continue so they can continue living on it a la Easy Street. Now, Milo, he jumps in on this, and he is obviously not a fan of Nick Fuentes, even though they were friends back when they were both little sycophants for Kanye West. Glomming on to a famous person that is obviously losing his fucking mind and needs to be on some kind of goddamn medication, whether it be lithium or whatever the fuck, taking advantage of Kanye West's weakened mental state to hang out and be hanger-ons while they go down to Mar-a-Lago and have dinner with Donald Trump. But now Milo and Nick Fuentes are fighting amongst themselves, and Milo is suggesting that Nick Fuentes has been purchased. I don't know who he thinks he's being purchased by, the Zionists in Israel. Who the fuck knows? These guys, they're just lashing out at each other like a bunch of wild animals. They're all cutting at each other's throats, to be the last one standing? I have no idea what it is, but watching them slice each other up, and I'm sitting here eating popcorn, watching them just tear into each other.
If you're on the Candace Owens train, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to try to appease you. It's to the detriment of the right wing broadly. It is to the detriment of anyone that seriously talks about Jews in Israel. And it's to the detriment of rationality. It is the definition of hysteria. And I thought Tim Pool, very courageous, because I know he's getting shit for it, to say something about it. He had an epic go-off on it. Major respect for him.
So let's get to this epic nuclear meltdown that Tim Pool had on Candace Owens. And just in case you're at work, this is not safe for work. Lots of very foul language coming out of this beanie-laden individual.
Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt. She is burning everything down. And she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more.
Boy, you hear that break in his voice? Goddamn, Tim Pool, you are a little bitch. You are a little whiny little bitch. Oh my God. You have no idea what I go through. Dude, you're a fucking podcaster. You ain't dealing with jack or shit. Calm down.
More people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I...
Okay, so he has made a claim that somebody is shooting at his property. I got this little article here. Right-wing podcaster Tim Pool claims someone opened fire on his property. Now, keep this in mind, okay? They're in the middle of hunting season right now. The end of November through like the middle of December. I looked this up. In West Virginia, it is literally in the middle of buck hunting season. And he lives in the middle of the woods in West Virginia in his compound. Do you think that that could possibly be it? One of the reasons why I think that is literally 1 year ago, right around this time, just after Thanksgiving, he was saying that somebody else was shooting at his house during buck hunting season. In a post on Twitter, Poole said a car approached his property on Friday night and opened fire. There were no injuries, Poole added. His security team is now reviewing the incident and will make a report to law enforcement. On a second post, Poole says his first thought was that someone was trying to scare him, but we have security gate and armed guards. It's possible that this deterred something more serious. Poole did not specify where his property is located, but his Twitter profile lists his location at Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. The Independent has contacted Poole for comments. The Harpers Ferry Police Department said the incident did not occur within the agency's boundaries and directed the Independent to West Virginia State Police and Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. A spokesperson for West Virginia State Police said that they have no information about the incident. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office could not be reached for comment outside of business hours. Several major figures responded to Poole's post, including conservative commentator Megyn Kelly. This is awful, Tim. I'm so sorry this happened. Things are getting way out of control and it's happening more frequently. Praying for your safety. Anyway, let's get back to the meltdown here.
I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who try to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And you know...
Okay, so he's mad that crazy people are out beating up his tenants in Maryland, and his first thought is, how am I going to sell this property? You are a heartless bastard. If that's true, you are a heartless motherfucker. You don't care about them. You just care about your fucking property value. Tell me you're a Republican without telling me you're a Republican. God damn.
It's all lies. It's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again, this conservative movement is fractured, it's fried, whatever it is. Okay? Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending in the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch. Please. That is some serious fucking copium. Ever since Donald Trump was elected, his poll numbers have been going down like a goddamn meteor. It is insane for you to say that shit. Donald Trump has been fucking it up so badly. Right now, his polling is like in the mid-30s. But before Charlie Kirk's death, it wasn't that much higher, my friend. This has got nothing to do with Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. Donald Trump has been going down for a while now. Him and his concern about the goddamn midterms. It's a fucking fait accompli. They will lose in the midterms. Not because of Candace Owens and not because of Charlie Kirk, but because he is warmongering with Venezuela. He is screwing up everything economically with his goddamn tariffs. He's got Gestapo running all over this country, asking for people's papers and arresting brown people, willy-nilly shipping them out of the country. Not to mention the fact that he is obviously covering up the release of these Epstein files. It all looks really fucking bad. It's got nothing to do with Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens. I mean, for God's sakes, he cut 17 million people off of their Medicaid. He threw a great Gatsby party while he was cutting people's food stamps during the government shutdown. Blaming this on Candace Owens or the assassination of Charlie Kirk is the craziest ass shit. What are you cooking underneath that beanie, Tim?
And this is the point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history, and thanks to the likes of the vile cunt.
The most effective political assassination in history? JFK? RFK? Martin Luther King? Malcolm X? No. Charlie Kirk.
Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me.
It sounds like you want to go.
Back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on. Such fucking pathetic bullshit.
He's mad at Megyn Kelly for riding the fence and not jumping on his bandwagon against Candace Owens because she is afraid of the backlash from Candace Owens. All of this is just insanity. Now, Candace has an answer to that crazy ass rant from Tim Pool, and she does look. I am not on anybody's side here. I will reiterate, all of these people are bad actors, but Candace answers him with some quiet cool, and boy, she takes him to task. It's brutal, man. This is fucking brutal.
First and foremost, what you are seeing right there is not a display of testosterone. Men that speak to women like this are not tough guys, okay? What you are seeing is actually a display of estrogen. Everything he is doing there is somebody who is not a man, he is not tough, and he would never dare to speak to a man like that, right? People that find that very easy. Secondly, Tim Pool doesn't even have the intellect to understand that we put him in the thumbnail because he accused me in a full episode with Milo Yiannopoulos, which we showed and contextualized, of being someone who benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination. So he thinks he's being accused. No, you accused me of that in like a actually, I think it was 2-hour episode with Milo Yiannopoulos, in which Milo defended me and explained that I am not to blame for the lame excuses that the feds have given us regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination.
See what I mean? It's always, you're the Fed. No, you're the Fed. No, you're the Fed. The Spider-Man meme all over again.
And that if we do need to have some spiritual searching in terms of what the Republican Party has become, that the time for that is now. Okay? So this little, and I really like, he's a small person for this. A very small person who is also theatrical, Timothy Smollett, who pretends every year like.
Remember Jesse Smollett, who said that some rednecks wearing MAGA hats beat him up, and it turns out that he had hired a couple of dudes, and then he got found out, and it looked really fucking bad. She is now calling Tim Pool Timothy Smollett, saying that he's making up this shit about his tenants getting beat up and people taking shots at his house or his compound in West Virginia.
People are trying to kill him. He's a chronic fence sitter, okay? Pretending like he is braving the wilderness for being what? The 110,000th person who's making a video about Candace Owens in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. He thinks he's pioneering that. Are you out of your mind? It's only the safest thing you can do. What's next? Is he going to make a video and call Kanye West anti-Semitic? Like that's what he's pioneering right now. Oh my gosh, so original. Like, is he going to call Donald Trump evil in 2016? This is the storm that he's braving, is jumping on the side of what everyone else is doing. He is a fundamentally weak man for what he did there. He should apologize. He won't. I don't care what happens to his platform. He's now essentially trying out because he's under financial pressure. He's trying out for a Zionist to pay him, and they will. Okay, they will cut him a check, and I hope it happens for you, Tim. I hope it makes you happy. But to do that to someone who has never done anything to you other than disagree with you about the Charlie Kirk narrative, I have not focused my content on you. And anytime your name has come up, it has been because you have explicitly been attacking me. You are a coward. You are less than a man. Okay. Ooh. You are behaving. Your type right there is like a person who's having financial issues and yet decides to go out and put $100K on a poker game. And when he loses and is a further $100K in the hole, comes back home and beats his wife and kids and thinks he's a tough guy. That's how you're acting.
God damn. Man, she went hard in the paint. Oh my God. How do you recover from shit like that? Well, this was his answer. Not great.
Pray he comes through it. What I would say is this. Candace is losing the argument. She knows it. More.
Oh, honey, I just watched that last video. We all just saw that last video. She smacked you like a redheaded stepchild. She is not losing this argument. You look like a whiny little bitch. It is plain as the beanie on your head. She smacked your ass back to the boondocks, dog.
More people are calling her out. They're saying she's exploiting people. She's making a conspiracy mob, and more people are starting to come out. I was not the first. Anybody who feels that my speaking up has opened up an opportunity for them to do so, that's great. I'm not doing this for anybody else. I just literally talk about what I feel, and much to my own detriment.
They are doing a podcast about a podcast about a podcast about a podcast answering to another podcast. My God, man. This is the snake eating its own tail.
She says, I cannot explain it, but I sense that this isn't actually about me, and that Tim Pool is under tremendous financial pressure. Men behave a certain way when they are under economic pressure, and I feel like he's just lashing out, and I happen to be here. She claimed UTC was Utah time. She said there's Egyptian planes flying all around. There aren't. There are Egyptian planes flying around for sure, but the ones she's apparently pointing to, some of them aren't even in the United States. Some of them it's just coincidence, but she's just asking questions.
Look, she is a fucking psycho. There ain't no getting around it. But you're all fucking psychos. Every last one of you are crazier than shithouse rats. Now, just for a little palate cleanser for you guys, I wanted to show you a couple of little funny ones. Piers Morgan, a couple of days after all of this, interviews Nick Fuentes, and I'm not a big Piers Morgan fan, really, truly. In the UK, where he's from, he is considered a very conservative guy, but comes to America and he's very centrist-y, middle of the road. And he has Nick Fuentes come on his show, and man, he smacks this kid around like he is a child. It is brutal. Enjoy.
Theories about you. I've no idea what the answer is, and you haven't got to answer. But are you actually attracted to women?
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No.
That's been a rumor about Nick Fuentes for a long time. There are pictures with him and other young men. A couple of them were wearing like cat ears, like he's attracted to like furries or cat boys. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I just wish that he wasn't a fascist. That's all I really care about. And also there is a rumor that he either went down on another podcaster called Destiny. Either he went down on Destiny or Destiny went down on him. I think that Destiny said that it actually happened. I don't know. I don't really care. But the rumor is that Nick Fuentes, who is a white nationalist and very Christian conservative, is also a closeted homosexual. And his denial of it doesn't really dissuade anybody from believing it.
But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow
fossil.
old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Damn, dog. You can laugh about that, but he just smoked your ass. I love a man who has opinions about women who has never been with a woman. You are 27 years old. I think that's how old he is. This is a 27-year-old guy who has never had sex. I'm not here to shame anybody about whether or not they're virgins or not, but for somebody to have so many opinions about what rights women should and should not have, to have never been with one, is pretty insane and beyond hypocritical. And I got one last one for you. This one's just fucking chef's kiss. It's a nice little amuse-bouche that goes on the end of this meal. Fucking Roseanne Barr. She is definitely suffering from something. I mean, other than psychosis. I don't know what kind of medication she's on. Maybe she's on Xanax or alcohol or something. She's slurring her word. Roseanne Barr. She is taking Nick Fuentes to task as well. If she didn't have her co-host here with her to help her out on her crazy ass podcast, she would be lost in the fucking woods.
When I tell you, you little bastard, you're going to be begging the Jews to give you, I don't know what.
Medicine for his Kalman syndrome.
You're going to be begging the Jews to help you down on your knees and repent like Kanye West, motherfucker. Keep it up. It's a fucking, what do they call it?
Reckoning?
It's a sting.
Yeah.
It's a God...
God damn, this woman is lost in the sauce, man. What the fuck happened to you, Roseanne? Oh my God.
Sting, are you going to go against the God of Abraham? You're going to shit talk the God of the Torah? Keep it up, motherfucker.
Not
You'll
just the
see
Torah,
what happens.
the Bible, Jesus.
We'll see.
I like how he came in there with the assist, because Nick Fuentes does not like Jewish people whatsoever. So you talking about the God of the Torah or the God of Israel, it does not make no never mind to Nick Fuentes. So you got your producer there going, how about Jesus in the Bible? You like that stuff, don't you, Nick?
What happens when you try to overthrow the Constitution of the United States, the Republic?
United States. You sound like fucking Donald Trump, man. Oh my God. By the way, what do you give a good goddamn about the Constitution? Donald Trump is literally wiping his ass with it as we speak. And you love you some Donald Trump. But Nick Fuentes, okay, whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Of the United States of America. You talk shit about that, saying it ain't good, that we got to have some Catholic theology to replace it. You can kiss my motherfucking rich Jew American ass motherfucker. Yeah. Come and debate me. Let's debate.
Everybody is a goddamn debate, bro. Everybody on the right is a goddamn debate, bro. It is just crazy. Look, say what you want about the left wing. I have definitely got my critiques about having conversations between people on the left, the progressive left, and people in the center like, Gavin Newsom or Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer. There is no love lost between us, but usually our arguments are over policy prescriptions and what we should do to help out the Democratic Party and thereby helping out the American people. These people have absolutely nothing. All they do is run the grift, try to bilk their viewers for money so they can live in compounds in West Virginia. Look, I'm not against making money here, but if you're making money by lying and deceiving your people constantly, it doesn't look really great for you. I would happily have a debate with a centrist or somebody nominally on the left. I think I would win that debate, but at the same time, at least we would be discussing shit that is actually policy and pertinent to the American people. These people are lunatics who are just fighting over the scraps, the dead carcass of the Republican Party like a bunch of fucking vultures. It is absolutely disgusting. And I don't really give a good goddamn about the Republican Party. They have been doing this to themselves for decades. Ever since goddamn Fox News came on the scene and just started to lying to all of their elderly viewers in between a whole bunch of ads for reverse mortgages or some kind of medication for restless leg syndrome, lying to their audience, getting them angry, getting them mad, and getting them afraid of everything in the outside world. I mean, that's how the right-wing grift works. They keep you glued to the TV. They don't want you to go out and socialize. They don't want you to go out and meet regular people, because you will go out there and you'll go, oh, people are normal. People aren't as crazy as they say on Fox News. People aren't as crazy as they say on Newsmax or OAN. And it doesn't stop with cable television. People like Nick Fuentes, people like Candace Owens and Tim Pool, those people, they want you to stay glued to their shows so you don't ever have to go outside and see what it's like in the real world. They don't want you to see the normality that's going on in the real world. They want you afraid. They want you glued to the television and buying their fucking product. Whatever that product is that they're selling you, they want you there. They don't want you to go live and fulfill a normal life. They want you terrified of black people, of brown people, of women, of gays, of trans people, of the other. They want you shaking and quaking in your boots so they can continue to grift off of you. Whether it's Trump selling you Trump water, Trump steaks, Trump property, Trump meme coin, or whether it's any one of these people selling memberships to their podcast or what have you. They are there to bilk you, confuse you, and frighten you so they can make money off of you. Look, I'm not saying that there are no grifters on the left wing either. You know, there are plenty of people out there that I think have very poor policy prescriptions on the nominal left. But at the same time, I have never seen Gavin Newsom trying to sell a set of gold shoes. I've never seen Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer trying to sell you apocalypse buckets filled with freeze-dried food. It was that old school, you know, back in the 70s, the combination of conservatism and Christianity into one entity. The conservative base would believe anything that the preacher told them from the pulpit. And the Republican Party's like, hey, I want to get in on that. I would love to have a group of followers that believed everything I said on faith. And they have cultivated this for the last 50, 60 years, and it's worked. But ultimately, this is the end result. If you are a political party and you do not provide anything for your people, you're good at running for office, but you're terrible at being in office. You're terrible at doing your job. Eventually, your people will either leave you or they will come after you. I have never seen a more bifurcated group of sycophantic losers in my life. This is by no means the end of this. I'm sure by the time this is released, there will be more crazy midday soap opera-like drama. I have no doubt. But so much has been going on in the last week, I felt like I had to cover it. It was just too much. It's crazy. It's stuff like this that makes me go, God damn, I'm glad I'm on the left. I would hate to be having to swim in that shark-infested water on the right because they're out for blood and they're eating each other. I wonder who will be next on the menu. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.